Welcome back to Far and Away, everyone. So, before we start the episode tonight, there's actually been quite a few changes behind the scene. For one, if you're watching this on YouTube, I've actually tweaked the overlay a little bit, so it's a bit neater. We've made quite a few mechanical changes. Would you call them changes or just more refinements?
Refinements sounds better.
Refinements. So, I'm just going to read through everything as quickly as possible just to get us out of the way, because this is going to inform what we're doing with the downtime going forward. First of all, there's been a few new additions to the crafting rules. So, reading certain books will now give a +1 to the associated crafting roll. So, for example, if, like, David reads Alchemy Genius, he gets a +1 to his alchemy supplies. If he reads Eat Some Goods, he'll get a +1 to his cooking rolls. Then the amount of learning required to gain an additional +1 does become progressively greater with each +1 earned. And the cap from just learning like this is a +3. You can improve your crafting further through the of tools. Also, this doesn't mean that every book that we read is going to give bonuses, but some will give knowledge, like, for example, the Modern Living book. Once you've read through that, basically you will know everything that's in the book, and you can just ask the DM, do I know this from reading this book? And they can say yes or no, and then you can just do the thing.
So it'd be so much easier than figuring it all out exactly what you learn.
I think what would be helpful is if you kind of just gave a general overview. I think would be helpful, and then we can ask for specifics, and as we learn things, I can just update that the book covers this and that to avoid the same questions coming up again. Next thing is weapon and armor proficiencies. This is broken down into 3 factors. So first of all is 85 hours of moving around with the item or the armor, 20 hours of learning under a teacher, and 15 hours of combat and sparring. Actually, I want to ask a question here. With the sparring as someone who counts, who can use the items well, can this be a person who has proficiency with the item, or does it have to be like a dedicated master?
It could be someone who has proficiency.
Okay, so in addition, for weapons only, after and only after a character has completed the above prerequisites, they must do at least 50% of the damage to a creature with the weapon and strike a killing blow with said weapon in order to actually gain the proficiency. And then for armor, if a character trains using a piece of armor that allows them to bypass the proficiency requirements, such as Elven Chain, for example, they will gain progress towards using armor, but they'll need to use a different set to gain the benefits of learning under a master or from sparring. In addition, you've said, Pete, that you would consider any weapons that we've been carrying on our person that we're not already proficient with to have already satisfied the 85-hour carrying requirement. I've looked through everyone's character sheets, and John and Kara are already proficient with all of their armors and their weapons. The only thing that David is carrying which he's not proficient with is his Rod of the Pack Keeper, so technically that counts towards a proficiency with a rod because he's been carrying that since the end of World 2. With Brandon, he's been carrying a mace since the beginning of the story, a longbow and a short bow since episode 40-something of World 1 from Herbert, and the Javelin of Lightning since the end of World 2. So therefore he's satisfied the requirement on those 4 things as well. And then just some background on the proficiencies that we're working towards, because I think this has been alluded to in the story but never explicitly announced. Brandon is working towards an Arcana proficiency, which requires work with enchanting or magical fairy lessons, so he's currently 53.5 hours out of 100 for that. David is working on an alchemy supplies proficiency, which can be advanced by brewing potions, reading books on alchemy, or creating medicine. Now that's more something for John because they're also learning alchemy supplies, so he's got 42 out of 100. John is also working towards alchemy supplies, which is why the medicine thing is there, but they're also working towards a herbalism kit proficiency, which requires work in the greenhouse, which is 10 out of 100, and a medicine and healer's kit proficiency, which both have the same requirements of working as a healer, studying with a mentor, and crafting medicines, which are both at 5.5 out of 90 hours. The reason it's 90 with John is because they've got some foreknowledge, so we knocked 10 hours off due to that. So finally, for proficiencies, Brandon is going to be working towards a performance proficiency, which has its own set of rules. So a performance must be before a crowd of strangers of at least 15 people and last at least 30 minutes. The player doesn't need to sing for this period, they can just sing a couple of songs. And that one on performance rolls on a wild magic table for Brandon only will, so if he rolls nat 1 on the performances, wild magic will go off. I don't know if you're going to do a separate table for that, and there's all sort of implications. I would like to say that I think on a nat 20, not to do with wild magic, but I think something positive should happen as well, because Brandon did get money from one performance.
I mean, that 20s always have that regardless, so...
They do, but it wasn't explicitly stated, so I'm just going to put that there. So I have a question. So a performance earns 1d4 in stages of performance. So 1 to 5 is 1, 6 to 10 is 2, 11 to 15 is 3, 16 to 20 is 4, and 21 to 25 is 5. So does this mean that he gets an extra d4 for each threshold he passes?
Yes.
We actually need to do a couple of rolls here, because in addition to that, we kind of decided that John should get something towards his medicine and healer's kit proficiency from doing stuff with Granny Sheila. But because we weren't really tracking time properly back then, we just said that when we get to next session, John can roll a d4 and I'll just put that many hours on. Okay,
That's
so
2 hours.
I'll put on another 2 hours for you. And Brandon technically needs to do some rolls too, because he's done 3 performances, 2 at Best of Times and 1 in Far and Away. I actually did remember after we talked, Pete, that Andrea had a bunch of sick people with her. We never specified how many there were, so there could have been enough
Did you
people.
perform in front of the sick?
Yes. So what should Brandon roll for this? Because the one thing I will say is the first time he performed in Best of Times, he did perform well enough to have the audience throw money at him.
Roll now. If it's below 10, it's a 10.
20,
Ah.
okay.
Cool.
Best of
D4.
Times. Well, that's still 8. Okay, so should I now roll for the second Best of Times performance? The one where we did the promotional stuff?
I shall allow it.
Okay, 14. So 3d4, so another 7. Okay, and finally for the performance that Brandon did in the shop. 14 again.
3d4 again.
Oh, okay, better. 10. So Brandon has 25 PP, or performance points.
Sorry.
Yes, performance points. So that when Brandon's PP gets big enough, he'll get a proficiency. I totally didn't name that deliberately just so I could put it that way.
No, you did. You did.
I did. I totally did. Okay, so with that, that's everything. So that did take a few minutes. Like, basically the reason that this is being discussed right now is just to give context for what's going to be coming up in the story, because I don't think we've actually mentioned this on camera. But yeah,
There's
this will all get
also another little thing. There is a spellbook that you guys completely forgot about, which now is populated by spells.
Yes, which I actually reminded you about.
Yes, and I was then reminding them.
Yes.
But
Thank you for reminding.
Nick.
So basically, when I was going through all of the spells, I realized that, oh, there was that spell book at, I think it was like episode 8, and we looked at it once. It was like with the silent scroll and the scroll case, but because
That was right in the beginning.
yeah, literally before we left the shop to go explore Avabellum. So that book contained a level 1 spell for each class. I did actually have that hidden on the sources. So if you guys go to the spells tab on the inventory, you'll see that there's now some new spells for Magic 101. They're at the bottom. So we now have access to Longstrider, Healing Word, Goodberry, Detect, Poison and Disease, Fog Cloud, False Life, Unseen Servant, and Illusory Script. We do actually have scrolls for Fog Cloud and False Life, but we didn't have them in the spellbook yet. Actually, another thing, from Balamar, there were a few books missing. The map books and the DIY books weren't defined, so they've now been added to the bookcase as well. So those books, for context, are... So a religion book, The Order of the Giggling Gear, the Kingdoms of Shah Laral map book, the Western Islands of Gubblekin map book, and Basic Book DIY book. Mara's spell books that we got in World 1 have now been given names as well. Billy Basic Spells, Shoot Shoot Sparkle Sparkle, and O'Corella's Tome. Yeah, sorry, this was a little bit front-loaded, but yeah, there were lots of little changes being made over the past week. So with that, I think we're now ready to start the session proper. Terror Bird XP from last time. We didn't actually add it onto our sheets. We did it for the previous session, but not for the ones that Brandon and John killed. So we get another 50 experience points. So current time is 2:30. So last we left off, Brandon, David, and John had just finished a conversation about making a forge / berating John for Splinter's education. David said he was going to periodically go and pick off some terror birds, and I think for the rest of today we're just going to be doing stuff around the shop. Don't think we've got any plans to storm the fort again because yeah, we used a few resources and David got beat up quite badly, so I think we're just going to take it easy.
Almost died.
You did. You were on 3 hit points. Okay.
What are you guys doing?
Brandon wants to ask Lonte a few questions. I have a few, so it might be better to do someone else first.
I have a few rolls to do, I realized.
I also will be doing a few rolls.
The flowering staff spawns flowering plants, right?
Yes.
Cool.
He says continue.
Okay, I'm gonna do the rolls quickly.
Jun did use the Staff of Flowers yesterday, so they do actually need to roll to recharge it. You got all your charges back. Now, Pete, in my defense, I tried. Okay, so do your rolls.
Oregano. Yes. I finally have oregano. Garlic.
No.
Ginger. No. Kinisea, which is a flower, so it shouldn't. That I will use that one for grapes. We don't have grapes. I do pick coneflower. That's just a flower, and bamboo, which is a flowering plant. Okay, the next one will be for wheat. Not wheat to smoke, but wheat like in barley and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No. Sugar beets. Yes. Peppermint. No. So oregano, coneflower, bamboo, and sugar beets.
Whilst Jun is playing with a stick, what's everyone else doing?
David is going to, because we don't have any more reading classes, right?
We do not know.
Yeah, so he's going to head up to the roof. How much time does David have?
So it's 2:30 in the afternoon at the moment.
Let's say 6 hours. So he will be 5 hours doing potion brewing and 1 hour shooting terror birds from the roof.
Whereabouts are you shooting them from?
I will climb up towards the attic.
So the hatch is locked.
Devlin, can I come in?
Silence in return.
I want to shoot terror birds from the roof, Devlin.
Just hear nothing for a long minute. And then there's a dum dum dum. And the hatch slowly opens up.
Hi, climb on in through.
You poke your head up into the attic, full of all kinds of bits and pieces of junk, crates dotted around everywhere.
Do I also see Devlin?
He was over here by this mess. There's floating in place with a book floating in front of him.
Oh, just walk past, say thank you, and then head. I believe the hole was somewhere around here. Poke my head out to the walls to see if I see any terror birds.
As you look out and around, you do see scatterings of terror birds. Some within range, some out of range. Some small, a few large.
I'll take bite shots at the smaller ones that are within range.
So over the course of an hour, do 3d6. Let's see how you do for an hour. Make a note of that.
86,
Ooh,
14.
nice. To be fair, Eldritch
Okay.
Blast has quite the range, and you are at a higher vantage point than Brandon and Jun were.
So over the course of an hour, you pop off 14 terror birds. Congratulations, give yourselves XP.
I'll figure out the XP later.
Thank you. And then I head back down, say thank you, Devlin.
You're welcome.
Close the hatch behind me. And then I head back into my room and start brewing some potions. Wait, do I have the materials, or else I have to bother Brandon first? I gonna bother Brandon first. Brandon,
Hey Dave, what's up?
how's it going?
Yeah, it's
Alright.
going okay. Do you need something?
Yes. Do you have any leftover magical materials? And a question. When June harvested the greenhouse, did she give you the clare flowers?
Don't know if they did, you know.
Then I will check with June.
I'm in the greenhouse.
Hey June,
Hello.
I have a question. When you harvested everything in the greenhouse, did you also divvy up the clare flowers?
I never divided. I just took 20 with me in case it all
Yeah.
burned down.
How many flowers do we have?
We have 80 that are growing and 20 on me.
Are you gonna use those 20, or
I
what's
can,
your idea with them?
whatever we're not using, I would just put in the ground.
I'm planning to use some
How much do you need?
for the day. About 5, but if we also want to do more potion brewing in the future, like tomorrow, probably need some more.
Every seat is 10 GP worth
Okay.
of magical supplies.
I'm gonna need 10 for the day.
10 Clara flowers.
Seeds, yes, but
Oh, okay. And for tomorrow?
probably another 10. I can use as much as you have.
I'm not gonna take anything out of the greenhouse because they've been grown for a day.
Yeah, no, I'm
But
not
you
asking
can
for that. Yeah.
Take the 20 on me.
Thank you.
Can Brandon hear the conversation from where he is in the shop since the greenhouse door is open?
Assume so.
In that case, Brandon is going to shout down, at some point, I'm going to need about 2,000 golds worth for this portable hole. Depends if I get anything refunded from this, but basically, I'm going to use pretty much everything I've got remaining making this ring. I'll have like
2,000 gold?
for the portable hole, yeah. It's a
That
fair
means we
bit.
need like 200 flowers.
It's not something that I expect I'll be able to do straight, because the thing is, this is going to take me like another day and a bit anyway.
To get that from what is growing right now, it will probably take like 6 days.
A week.
Yeah.
to make a mental note to keep 200 aside.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying now, just because I appreciate you guys want to do stuff, but if we want to make that portable hub, because we still need to get the stuff for the forge anyway, so we might be a few days getting that stuff for all we know.
Fair points. I'll take the 20 flower sheets from John. I say thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Oh, actually, I'm just going to go and get something. I actually have a question for you, Jen. Brandon is going to go over to his workstation. He's going to pull out the set of magical tattoo needles, which he got from the Shares' house back in World 3. Brandon is going to go back over to the hatch and say to John, hey, John, I don't know if you remember when we got these things. Shows John the set of magical tattoo needles.
These parents' tools?
Yeah, like when I was looking over this stuff later on, you know, you can do that thing where you can hold an item and you can see what it does. Apparently, these things can apply magical tattoos, and basically, uncommon tattoo takes 2 hours, whilst an uncommon one takes 4. So I'm thinking this actually might be useful to us, but obviously, given where we found these and, well, they are needles, I didn't really think to bring this up before now because I think these are going to need to be sterilized before we even entertain the idea of using them.
Yeah.
I figure you would know how best to do that, just given everything we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I was planning early preparations for ethanol anyway, so if you just keep them on you, eventually we will be able to properly sterilize them.
Yeah, I just thought I would bring it up because it's another tool we can use, and I might ask, won't I, what we can do. These have actually got a few questions for them because we haven't really had a day like this for a while where we've just been able to sit down and just focus on something.
It's kind of weird to suddenly be
time, yeah. I mean, I welcome it, honestly. It's been really full on for these past few weeks. Anyway, do you need me for anything while I'm here, John? Or are you okay doing what you're doing right now?
My list. It's all me actually today. I'm gonna be working a lot.
Okay, in that case, I mean, I'm just gonna be in the shop. I've just got to go and ask a few questions first. I'll speak to you in a bit, John.
Okay, bye.
David he went to his room doing some potion brewing. 2 hours for a D4 for the primer. He gets 1 primer. And then he will create some potions. Starting with a potion of mage armor, which takes 3 of everything. I have to roll a D20. 9 gives me 2 potions. So I have 2 potions of mage armor. And then additionally, I will create a potion of climbing, which is 1 base, 1 igniter. Natural 20, that's so great, because that gives me 3 potions of climbing. And that's it. That's my entire day.
Okay. So what did John do during all that time?
Things might need to be figured out, but I would spend 6 hours making from 20 daisies painkillers, from 90 green tulips antidotes, and from 19 green tulips sedatives. I would put 480 raspberries in a barrel to create wine. I would collect the eggshells from the bin to crush them. From 20 mint cannabis hemp oil, I would start working on the centipedes to strip them of their chitin. And since it's been 6 hours, the painkillers are finished, because it's the first thing I started with.
So 6 hours progress towards medicine.
6 hours progress to medicine.
6 hours towards herbalism as well.
Oh, damn.
Okay then, roll the d10. Let's do a 2-to-1 ratio.
3
You make 3 doses of painkiller.
antidotes, 4 sedatives. 20 green tulips for antidotes and 20 for the other. So 40 in total. And I put 480 raspberries in a barrel to let it ferment into wine. That we will figure
Come
out
back
later.
to that in a month.
Does it go same from like the oil? Hemp oil.
Let me go look up how hemp oil is made. How many spliffs worth did I give you? I probably measured it by that.
You gave me 10 joint, 1.
Cannabis for 1 pump.
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
one mint can
No, that, yeah, it's the best way to measure it. That way you can measure the growth. Over
Joint.
2 hours.
Oil, 1 mint cannabis is 10 joints. Eggshells. How much eggshells would I have
How many
found?
eggs did you use? Let's just say 3 eggs worth of eggshells that you managed to scrounge around by rummaging around in the waste bins.
Would you know how much sodium I would get from 3?
No. No, I wouldn't.
Do we want to do that now? How much chitin from...
You can hear the distress from Pete's voice. Come on.
How much sodium is an egg? A plain egg contains up to 70 milligrams of sodium.
1 egg, 70 milligrams?
Apparently, yes.
Should I give you the other things in advance that you should start calculating? I'm gonna create sugar and I'm gonna create wood from bamboo.
Sugar,
and
I know.
From papyrus. Eventually, I'm going to get poison from monk's wood and alcohol from, well, the things, and wax from candelilla. But you have 2 weeks to figure that out, don't worry. How much chitin from the 6 centipedes I have put in?
Oh, did you pull in the large centipedes
think-
or the...
It was a single swarm of centipedes.
A single
Okay,
swarm,
so-
we put 6.
So, chitin-wise, how'd that sound?
1 harvesting kai roll in nature. Okay.
That's a lot of grams for
Also-
chitin. Between a few milligrams and a few grams a centipede.
Bits
Use
as well.
the 20 regular big insects then, and then 1 giant insect size to be the
Yeah,
equivalent.
sure. Yeah, that's fair.
Which means you wouldn't be able to get anything from this small batch.
Ah, cool. Would I realize that I need a lot more?
I'd say you probably work your way through 1 and then you realise. So what's the next crafting ruling I've got to come up with on the fly?
Nothing on the fly. This is all. That's my 6 hours.
Brandon.
Okay, so after Brandon talks to John, he is going to see if Lante is awake and active.
He is doodling on a piece of parchment.